Welcome to Communicating for Success. Today's topic will be to practice our communication skills. Our learning objective for today will be to take practical steps for effectively communicating in the workplace. When we practice communication skills, we need to learn to respond instead of react.
What happens when you want to spread gratitude, but everyone around you seems to want to spread garbage? I mean, what do you do when you run into bad drivers, rude waiters, mean bosses, bad customer service reps, pushy salespeople, moody coworkers, and even unloving relatives? What do you do when you're doing all the right things and then someone comes around and tries to ruin your day? What do you do about that? This is a real issue. This is an important question. And I have an answer. I call it the law of the garbage truck. Here's my story. I was in New York City 22 years ago and I needed to catch a train. So I flagged down a taxi, I hopped in, and we took off for Grand Central Station. We were driving in the right-hand lane when all of a sudden a black car jumps out of our parking space right in front of us. My taxi driver has to slam on his brakes, the car skids, the tires squeal, and at the last moment, our car stops just 1 inch from the other car's back end. I couldn't believe it. But then I couldn't believe what happened next. The driver of the other car, the guy who almost caused a major accident, whips his head around and starts yelling bad words at us. How do I know? Ask any New Yorker. Some words in New York come with a very special face. It looks something like this. And then he throws in a one-finger salute for emphasis, like I needed that. But here's what really blew me away. My taxi driver, he just smiled. And he waved at the guy. And I mean, he was friendly. So I yelled out, "Why'd you just do that? This guy could have killed us. He could have sent us to the hospital." And this is when my taxi driver told me what I call the law of the garbage truck. He said, many people are like garbage trucks. They run around full of garbage, full of frustration, full of anger, and full of disappointment. And as their garbage piles up, they do what garbage trucks do. They look for a place to dump it. And if you let them, they'll dump it on you. So when someone wants to dump on you, don't take it personally. Just smile, wave, wish them well, and move on. Just move on. So I'm sitting in the back of this taxi, and I'm thinking, how often do I let garbage trucks run right over me? And how often do I let them dump their garbage? And then how often do I take their garbage and spread it to other people? At work, at home, on the street. It was then I said, I don't want their garbage, and I'm not going to spread it anymore. Like the movie The Sixth Sense, the little boy. How many have seen the movie The Sixth Sense? Where the little boy says, "I see dead people." Well, now I see garbage trucks. I see the load they're carrying. I see them coming to dump it. And like my taxi driver, I don't make it a personal thing. I just smile, I wave, I wish them well, and I move on. Here's the lesson. Don't take personally the negative things you can't control. Take greater responsibility for the things you can. You get to choose your response in life, and it doesn't have to involve garbage.
Once we have learned how to respond instead of react, we will find that we also need the ability to learn to believe in ourselves. Many naysayers in our personal lives will tell us daily, "You can't do that," or "You'll never be able to do that." Why do we let them dictate what we can or want to do? When I interviewed you for this program, I asked, would you go jump into a big mud puddle with me right here, right now? You may have said, "Yes, sounds like fun." Or maybe your response was, "No, woo, gross." How you responded to me was a very clear indication of how willing you are to believe in yourself, how willing you are to get your hands dirty and to get something accomplished. There is a ladder for success that everyone faces in all of life's challenges. How far are you willing to climb? Did you say, "I won't do it"? I can't do it. I want to do it. How do I do it? I'll try to do it. I can do it. I will do it. Yes, I did it. Which step are you willing to reach today? A big part of practicing our communication skills is learning to talk less and listen more. God blessed you with 2 ears and only 1 mouth, so that you will listen twice as much as you talk. We also need to learn to be attentive. Being attentive means closing our mouth and opening our ears, making sure that we are listening to what is being said. When you're in class, do you find yourself taking notes and jotting down everything that's on the board while the teacher is talking? Or are you fully paying attention to what's being said? Remember the law of the garbage truck. A lot of times there are things that happen that are outside of our control. A lot of times people will disagree about certain topics. And when they do, instead of learning to agree to disagree, they get really worked up and overheated. As a professional, you need to be able to take your own temperature in these types of situations. We need to stay calm, cool, and collected, and not get worked up or overheated at other people's garbage. As a professional, we need to also practice the golden rules of communication. Be professional at all times. Wear a smile every day. Be aware of body language, not only you, but those around you. Be able to listen, speak clearly, and use proper English and vocabulary. We need to be able to understand that communication goes beyond just being able to talk to one another. Effective communication goes much deeper than that. Effective communication is when we pass on information that needs to be understood by both parties. We need to be able to communicate not only through our voice, but through facial expressions, body language, visual tools, and even written communication. We need to be able to meet and greet new clients and learn how to use the client intake form. When we meet and greet new clients, we need to be polite, genuinely friendly. We need to assert a positive attitude, be consistent, smile, introduce yourself, give the client a tour of the salon, and introduce the client to other people in the salon that may benefit them. The client intake form pictured here is the same from your textbook, pages 52 and 53. You have to understand that this is a basic client intake form and that every salon will have a different client intake form for any service that may be provided. A client intake form should be filled out for every new client, but they should also be updated for our regular clients on a needed basis. A client intake form provides information that we need to know so that we can provide the best quality service for our clients.